right, everybody, we are back. This time, I have a special request for my friend Larry. He is our handyman, our part-time handyman at work. And he brought me an old window, and he asked if I would paint Charlie Brown, because he loves Charlie Brown cartoons. And I said yes, because if you've ever met Larry, he would do anything you ask him to do. So if he's asked me to do something, I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure I do it right. So I have already drawn in a pattern, as you can tell, and base coated the back side of it. And I'm just going to do a little bit of, I guess you could call, somebody asked me what base coating was, and it's basically just a primer. So I'm going to go ahead and paint in over my pattern for Charlie Brown and Snoopy. And Thanksgiving's coming up around the corner. Halloween's first, and I love Halloween. But since I've just done those 4 series of Halloween windows, the Halloweendos, I'm going to go ahead and move on, looking forward to Thanksgiving, which is probably one of my favorite holidays. I really, really enjoy Thanksgiving. So, per Larry's request, we are going to do a Thanksgiving Charlie Brown. And don't let I guess brush strokes scare you too much. They'll even out after a couple of coats. I plan on having a bunch of leaves and trees and foliage for the fall, and then some on the ground. That's the way he won't just be floating. And I'm going to keep this up for a little bit and get it good and ready to go, and we'll catch up in a moment. So if you've ever met Larry, which is our handyman, our part-time handyman, he would tell you, like I said, that Charlie Brown is a nostalgic memory for him, and he really liked that as his favorite cartoon. So he asked me what mine was, and I was like, hands down, Rainbow Bright. And that makes sense even now. I loved the fact that she was just this little blonde girl who, with her favorite horse and her little sprite friends, changed the world from like just darkness and saved it from Lurky and Murky, who wanted to paint everything gray. And she refused, and she was like, no, we're going to add color to everything and just make it better. And I took it to heart. I still feel that to this day. You can add a little bit of positivity and sunshine everywhere you go. You can wake up and choose that intentionally. So anyway, because Larry has been such a inspiration for this, I want to gift this to him, because he is a gift to me every day. I truly enjoy his positivity, his can-do attitude. He may work part-time, but he puts in a full day's work. Anything you ask him to do, he does it with a smile, above and beyond. So anyway, I'm going to do my best to do a really good job, and then bless him with it, as he's a blessing to us. I was thinking that leaves, as they change in the fall, they're like little works of art, and they just transform the whole entire time from what they originally were until the end. And so do people. And I'm trying to do that tonight. I'm trying to be mindful of that. Like Charlie Brown, he's just, no matter what obstacle, he says good grief and tries to fix it and move on if he can't. And you just got to keep going, you know? You just can't let it get you down. Got to keep going. So I'm going to put some Happy Yellow and double load yellow and orange on my brush this time. And do the same thing over here with a little bit of yellow on the outside. Do a couple more big leaves, and then we're going to move, like I said, to the smaller. So it's been a rough couple of days, but it's almost Friday, you guys. And then what's after Friday is Saturday. And then Saturday is a Sunday, and then you get a day of refreshing. Day of rest. Who doesn't need a day of rest? Even the Lord rested on the 7th day. Okay. All right. Take a few from the top, and then we're going to step back and see where we need these little guys to start trickling. So let's say a big one here. A little bit of yellow. All right. All right. Let's pretend they start falling off the tree here. So we're going to just do a couple of fall leaves literally falling. A little yellow here. And then those, you just do a quick little touch down, like a curve. And then eventually we'll tie them all in onto the branches. Let's see, Snoopy. I haven't done Snoopy's doghouse yet or the details in here, so I'm going to wait till I get done with that before I go down in here. I was thinking that leaves, as they change in the fall, they're like little works of art, and they just transform the whole entire time from what they originally were until the end. And so do people. And I'm trying to do that tonight. I'm trying to be mindful of that. Like Charlie Brown, he's just, no matter what obstacle, he says good grief and tries to fix it and move on if you can't. And you just got to keep going, you know? You just can't let it get you down. Got to keep going. So I'm going to put some Happy Yellow and double load yellow and orange on my brush this time. And do the same thing over here with a little bit of yellow on the outside. Do a couple more big leaves, and then we're going to move, like I said, to the smaller. So it's been a rough couple of days, but it's almost Friday, you guys. And then what's after Friday is Saturday. And then Saturday is a Sunday, and then you get a day of refreshing. Day of rest. Who doesn't need a day of rest? Even the Lord rested on the seventh day. Okay. All right. Take a few from the top. And then we're going to step back and see where we need these little guys to start trickling. So let's say a big one here. A little bit of yellow. All right. All right. Let's pretend they start falling off the tree here. So we're going to just do a couple of fall leaves literally falling. A little yellow here. And then those, you just do a quick little touchdown, like a curve. And then eventually we'll tie them all in onto the branches. Let's see, Snoopy. I haven't done Snoopy's doghouse yet or the details in here, so I'm going to wait till I get done with that before I go down in here. I almost feel like these leaves falling like like the trees have a final goodbye party for the leaves before they fall off, because they just turn so vibrant and beautiful right before they hit the ground and die for the year, I guess. I mowed for the last time tonight. That was exciting. Thank God our lawnmower held in. Okay, so now I'm going to dip back into the red and the orange and double load. We're going to make some more motions just like we were with the others. We're just going to touch, and flip. If it helps you at all, you can think of the word, the letter C and a U. Like, I'll see you later. You can make a C or a U. A C or a U, like upside down. And that might help a little bit. Put those everywhere. All right. I feel like we're getting a little bit heavy-sided, one-sided with the orange and red over here. So I'm going to bring some orange and red down here off of this tendril of the leaf. Go back over that one. Okay, here's a good bulk of orange and yellow. We'll do one more big one. Like I said, groups of 3s and 5s are usually found in nature. So that way we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to get there, guys. Let me see. We may have a little branch here. I'm liking it. I think Larry's going to like it. Okay. I'm going to do a couple more leaves on these trees, and then I'll hit you back in a minute. When we were talking about tone and value in the wintry scene, about objects being farther away appear lighter, and the closer they are to you, the darker they appear. That keeping in mind, I went ahead and loaded my brush with some ombre brown and some yellow ochre, which is a little bit darker tone. And we're going to put these a little bit closer up, more towards the middle of the painting, falling down. Just make them look like they're a little bit closer to you. I keep wanting to put them down here by these fellas, but I know I ain't ready for that yet. Just jumping the gun here, trigger happy. I do like painting leaves, though, I'll tell you that. I think it's one of the most impactful things you can paint real fast that take up space, adds interest, adds movement. I love leaves in nature. And I think that portrays in my painting because I can get leaf happy real quick. That's probably one of the, oh, what do you call that word? Critiques. One of the biggest critiques my mom has, who taught me how to paint. That's one of the biggest critiques she's ever said is sometimes you can do a little too many of them leaves, but I like them. I like them. Okay, so those ones are up close. All right, we're gonna do a couple more on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that looked odd. 5 looks better. Okay, and then I'm gonna do one more off of this little shoot we have right here. Brown on the outside this time. All right, and then I'm going to step back and give that a little bit of time to dry. I don't want to smudge anything because I'm fixing to go and add a little bit smaller leaves as well. So since I'm all in my feelings today, and then the Charlie Brown with his friends thing, that brings me to this. We have the whole autumn thing, which is a season of transformation to me. I've always loved autumn. It seems like a new start. Way more than the new year to me. I've always think I'm more creative in the September month, October, than I am usually at the beginning of the year because I'm usually just exhausted finishing up the holidays and whatnot. And I guess to round out my thought process, do you guys have a touchstone that you go to, your go-to person that's like your best friend or best friends? If you're lucky enough to have more than one, that's for sure you're blessed. I have a really, really tiny circle of friends. Basically, my husband's my best friend. Whether you agree with that or not, he is. He is husband first, but best friend second. I'm close with my mom. And then I have that one go-to bestie that I've had for, let's see, I'm 44, maybe about, well, she's 42, so 42 years. Even if we don't get to talk to each other all the time, it's nice to know I have her in my back pocket. So she's probably, what do you call that? Peppermint Patty? She's the one that's a little bit of tough love. She'll tell you the truth no matter what. Oh, all right. My mom and her best friend have been friends for 54 years. Best friends for 54 years. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine liking the same person for 54 years. God bless poor babe hanging in there, but my goodness, that's a long time. There we go. All right, I'm going to start adding some, I should have put these in the background, but I didn't a while ago. So I'm going to add these little bitty ones back with the darker tones towards the back here because I want some hanging down. I said that's a lot of leaves, I'll tell you. I think it's going to be cute though. And we're going to have some more, and then he'll be on a pile of leaves, but I haven't got that grass done yet. In fact, I think that's my next thing I'm going to do. I've already base coated these guys twice, so I'm going to go ahead and paint in a little bit of the land for me so I'll know which I want to do. So Charlie Brown isn't just floating like a ghost, because I accidentally forgot to put his legs on. And that's the truth. So we're going to have him on a hill and maybe a pile of leaves in front of him. Who fits it? Well, I lied, folks. I couldn't accept it. I had to give him some legs and some shoes. I just couldn't take it. He looked like Lieutenant Dan floating around down there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give him some legs too. All right, you guys, I'm at a stopping point for tonight. I've got a lot of chores to wrap up before I get ready for bed, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I've got everything with another base coat layer and a good placement for my leaves, and I'll start with the land tomorrow. So we'll yak at you tomorrow. Okay, we're going to bring in our beloved little Charlie Brown here, and with his little fashionable choice with his zigzag yellow shirt. And I'm just going to float, excuse me, float the couple lines just to prove where it is. When you float something, I've showed you this before, you just dip your brush completely in water, and then one corner of it you dip in the paint and put it on until it's almost transparent on one side and color on the other loaded up, and then you use that to shade and highlight later. All right, so we're just going to give his shirt a little bit of movement where any creases might come around the arms, around the neck, and around the waist. Okay, I'm going to clear my brush off, and I'm going to float the turkey now while we have him. So we're going to dip our brush in water and load it part water, part brown. Come in and do the same thing. Just make a couple little shadows with the brown. I'm also going to load the brown onto the red parts of Snoopy's little, I don't even know what he's got going on this. What is this, a cape from the Thanksgiving special? All right. Nice. Fill in his little hat brim. Okay, I've drawn a little face on Snoopy and on Charlie, so I'm going to make sure I really like that before I get going any further, because once it's on there, it's on there. All right. Next, we're going to finish up this little bit of land, and then I decided to add some pumpkins to fill in that hole. To be completely transparent with you, I just happen to have had yellow ochre and ombre brown on my brush already loaded because of the floating. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut the land in with that, just because it's handy. So we're just making a little bit of topography onto it, like they're sitting on a hill, walking on a hill, which will cover up in a little bit of leaves here in a minute as well, and these pumpkins. Just do a couple quick brush strokes and let it fall where it may. You don't really have to be great on this. Not great like the Charlie Brown pumpkin. I'm not too worried about covering that up because, like I said, we're going to paint in a couple of pumpkins here in a minute. I just didn't know what to put right there, and then it hit me. Great pumpkin Charlie Brown, why not put a pumpkin in there? All right. Give him a little legs. Okay, that looks nice and filled in. Got a little bit of movement to it. I'll let the first coat dry. As this is painting on glass, it's going to take one more coat. While we're waiting on that to dry, the first coat, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of branches in here, which is with my script liner. Just get it really good and watery and inky with that brown. Coming in and doing a couple of quick brush strokes, like tree branches coming off. Anywhere you see a little, well, I'm going to say a big leaf, you might want to give it a good little attachment. Trees are very forgiving. We actually went out, speaking of trees, my husband and I went out to our, we have 2 lakes in my town, and we went out, they're conjoined, so we have an old one and a new one, and we went to both today, and we have a brand new dog that just kind of literally fell in our laps. We came home one day, and pretty sure somebody dropped him across the fence, but anyway, that's fine, we'll take him, and we named him Huckleberry, and he is a nippy little healer. He is a red healer, and so he's a cow dog, so he's going to help us. We're trying to train him a little bit to work cattle, because we do have cattle, but to be honest with you, we kind of want him to leave him alone, because our poor little cows, they stay so stressed out there that they run all their weight off of them, and there goes our profit. So we're trying to get him to leave the cows the hell alone. But he's a work in progress, aren't we all? All right. Since some of those leaves are trickling down, go ahead and make a few tendrils. You know I like my curlicues. I'm just kind of do a hit and miss with that right now. The coloring of this window, I had painted a background with a sunset, and I think I'm going to have to go back through and do a little bit with some darker brown or maybe possibly light black to get it to show up. So I'm just kind of haphazardly doing these. Just giving a little bit of an impression more than anything. Anyway, we took Huck out to the lakes and let him play around in the water and play with the trees, and he just threw his ball, and we had a good time. I like being outside, especially in October. It's gorgeous in Oklahoma. I wanted to show you something. I don't think I've ever mentioned this. If you happen to get too much paint or water and it gets runny and streaky, keep yourself a little Q-tip handy, and you can just doctor that right up. It happens. All right, I did go ahead and mix a little bit of a darker brown. Not quite a black. and went in above what I had already just done, just to kind of give a little bit more, not only dimension, but just a little bit of a contrast. All right, I'm really, really liking this tree. It looks like a happy little Charlie Brown tree, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to finish up these little 3 tendrils here. And then I believe I'm going to call that good. Let me go in while I have this paint inked up pretty good with this dark color and add a couple of little low lights into the crooks and crevices here. There's one there. There we go. That's looking a little bit more like bark. Okay. Let's step back and take a look and see if our land is dry. Absolutely. Okay, we're just going to keep trekking on. All right, I added one more layer of brown, one more coat with that brown and that yellow ochre, just to make the it not so transparent on that glass. We have Snoopy's little house over here off to the side, so I'm going to float in a couple of shingles or roof eaves, whatever these are. All I know is on the pattern I was looking at, they're on there, so I better do it. All right, I just got my 1-inch brush out and loaded half with water, half with brown to make a shadow to do those lines. Then I'm going to come in under this eave here with some drier paint, make it a little bit more prominent. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of work on Charlie's bulbous head here and try and put some shading on the side of it. I had made a comment about friends earlier in this video. And if you know me in real life, you know that I can cover 9 subjects in 2 minutes. Probably my videos, which I don't watch, I'm sure that they sound chaotic and crazy, but that's where my mind goes. Anyway, I was talking about Charlie Brown and his friends and his giant bulbous head. And that made me think of arrogance, being big-headed. And although Charlie's not, I wanted to say one thing that I do value in my friends, not only is humility, but iron sharpens iron. And I was talking to my friend the other day, and I was saying, you know, we're all going through a lot of changes right now. I don't know if it's my age. I don't know if it's just my place in life, my work. I'm not sure, but I'm embracing them. But if I'm screwing up on something and you could see it, if you're a true friend, please don't step by and just watch me sabotage. Like, let me know, you know? We're supposed to maybe even openly or quietly rebuke each other. Like, let me know. And she agreed. And the one I was talking to, she's pretty sharp tongue, so you have to have thick skin with her. But anyway, just come from a place of humility and humbleness, not cocky and arrogance and a big head. So that's how I tied that all together in my mind anyways. Just how we floated the shirt to make shadows in the turkey. We're going to go ahead and float, but this time it's going to be opposite. Since we have a dark color, we need to put highlights that are floating in with our white. So we're going to float in Charlie's little shorts. Let's see. He has a little bit of a slit right here. So once again, loading your brush half white, half water, and putting in your shadow. In this case, our highlight, to show differentiation of where his shorts start and stop. There we go. All right, we're going to do the same thing with Snoopy and his little cape. So I would touch here, a little highlight, float it on down, and then little tails over the shoulder and down the back. I like it. Okay, now we're going to do the brim of the hat. Put it all the way. Okay, and then we're going to do the top. Here, give it just a little bit of shape. Maybe one by the belt buckle. And then Snoopy's little ear gets a little shading. And then his little nose, which I may have to move to a smaller brush. That's a pretty tight spot. Hold your breath. Perfect. Okay, I like it. All right, I went ahead and base coated some pumpkins over here, and I'm waiting on them to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and load my pouncer, just that scruffy brush, and put it straight in dry paint, wet paint. It's a dry brush put in wet paint. Get it good and saturated, and then pounce it on. Make a little bit of heels, a little bit of tufts of land and grass. And I'm going to do that off camera because that's really probably very annoying. So that gave Charlie and Snoopy, the besties, a little bit of land to walk on. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of sprigs of grass. First, I'm going to do the darkest brown. Just take your script liner and drop and pull up as fast as you can. Drop and pull up. There's literally no rhyme or reason to this. There you go. Let's see. We have Snoopy, by the way, being a beagle. I told you about Huck, and he's a red heeler. We have 2 beagles in our house as well. We had 3. One was named Fat, and then we have Sassy, and then we have Lily. But Fat passed away, and that was hard. He was probably, you're not supposed to have favorites, but he was probably my favorite dog ever. Anyway, we used to dress, well, when we first got Lily, we definitely dressed her up. Sassy, I don't think we've ever put clothes on her, and Daniel's like, screw that, he's a man, he ain't doing that stuff. He's like, forget it. So, my question is, I know this is a Thanksgiving painting, because that's what my friend Larry said he wanted, but, what about Halloween? Do you guys dress your pets up? Do you enjoy that just as much as you do dressing up your other kids? Let me know in the comments. Alright, I've added, as you can see, a couple of, 3 groups of 3 orange pumpkins off to the side there just to fill that negative space. And I'm letting those dry because they were an afterthought. And so I'm going to put a couple of scattering of leaves on the ground real fast. So I have discovered I'm pretty much out of engine red. That sucks. But, okay, after squeezing the life out of it, I've got the last of it on there. I really like to use acrylic paint on glass, even though they do have specific glass paint for painting on glass. I feel like this is not as transparent, and it's more malleable and easy to work with. Okay, so let's see, a couple little dainty red and brown leaves falling over here by Snoops. And then we're just double loading our brush again. Put a couple down here by Charlie Chuck Brown. And then we'll eventually put a couple by our pumpkins. Whoop. All right. Couple on the ground. These leaves are just basically brush strokes that are contextually, they're leaves. They're not detailed like the ones up here. A couple little flicks, a little C and a U. Okay, maybe he has a couple by his shoulder. Alright, I'm going to go through and add some yellow and brown leaves, just as a touch of a little bit of highlight on there. I like it, I like it. Maybe a couple fall over on little Snoopy's house. Okay, and some over here by Charlie's shoulders. Alright, I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll do our pumpkins and call it good. Alright, we're just adding a little bit of shading and depth to the bottom of those pumpkins here. All grouped up, hugging on each other. I like that last one. Cute. Put a little stem on it. Alright, I'm just going to sign my name on this real fast. And I want to end on this. Larry, we appreciate you so much for what you do for us at work, but more for who you are. You are a really honest, genuine, hardworking, no complaining, decent person. And I hope you're contagious in this world. I really do. So thanks for the idea on this, and I hope you enjoy it. Alright, this is what it started out as. This is my pattern. This is my final project. I'd say we got a winner. Well, anyway, thanks again for hanging out with Holly's Hobby, and we'll see you next time.